Now to a report on the Ginger and the Whinger that could be bad news for the UK if this is true. They want to move back to England apparently. This is according to OK Magazine. And it's Harry who's the one who is eager to return to his homeland. A source told the magazine there is a divide between the couple on this issue, but they will soon start looking for a property of their own near London, and Harry is very much leading this. What do you make of this latest report?
Well, I do think that Harry had a really hard time when the palace rejected his request to stay there during the Well Child Awards. But I wonder how much having a residence has to do with him wanting to keep that Chancellor of State role that a lot of people would like to see him lose. I also wonder, does it have anything to do with his visa? Because he's not an American citizen. So does he need to have a residence in the UK to maintain whatever it is he has in the United States that they're so secretive about? But I do believe it probably adds, there's some sort of fighting going on over it because Meghan has no desire to be in the UK. She feels rejected by them. And, you know, she doesn't want to put herself in a position to be humiliated by them again, the way that they booed her in the past when she was there for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee.
Well, I tell you, she didn't like the place when she was getting nothing but adulation, because in the lead up to that wedding and afterwards, before they started behaving like utter brats, they were beloved. I remember that entire period because I was one of the few looking on going, no, this ain't right. There are red flags with this girl all over the shop. But I was pretty much alone there, Kinsey, I've got to say, because people absolutely adored them. They adored the couple. The wedding was such a joyous thing for the UK. And yeah, if she didn't like it then, can you just imagine what her reaction would be now that they're just both very unpopular with the public? Now, since the Netflix series Beckham dropped, it's safe to say that public have been loving everything to do with David and Victoria Beckham, but not Rebecca Lewis, who was David's former mistress. She's finally given her take on the series.
The stories were horrible, but they were true. And he's the one who's responsible for all of this. He's the one who's responsible for his wife suffering. He's the one that decides to lie to her to say, we don't have to tell my wife. He's made all those choices.
Was there anything particular that he said that on that documentary that...
Yes, it was how awful it was to see his wife suffer so much. That bothered me.
Why?
Because he's the one that's caused the suffering.
Kinsey, I'm wondering whether Posh and Bex regret opening this Pandora's box. For years, they've been perceived as the perfect couple, and people had forgotten that far from being perfect, there was infidelity in the relationship. And according to Rebecca Lewis, she was not the only one.
I watched that docuseries and was left questioning whether or not the affairs really happened. That's how well crafted that docuseries was. I had no idea who Rebecca Lewis was, you know, until the series dropped. No fault of theirs directly because they don't name her. But you're right, it did open up old wounds that could have stayed closed and hidden. This was a risk that they took. They have a much bigger audience today than they did back then, thanks to streaming and social media. And you're absolutely right. I think David appears to be guilty of some infidelity based on Luce's reaction. Do I think it'll hurt the brand overall? I don't know, because I don't think so, because I think most people go, well, it was back then. And that docuseries, again, was so glossy and well produced that you go, oh, well, they're over it now. But you're right. They did this to themselves. They invited this negativity with this docuseries.
It is a long time ago, but I do remember at the time, and I can't recall any denials from the pair when the story first came out, and I think there was all sorts of even text message exchanges that were published way back then. Now, I think I speak for the overwhelming majority of the sane world when I say we're thoroughly sick and tired of Taylor and Travis. Can we just forget about this? So I'm going to announce here now, unless something dramatic happens, this will be the last time we will speak of this. Kinsey, you have my word on this. But we've got a report. This Swift was watching Travis Kelce play again over the weekend, and she has been rehearsing her halftime entertainment with the wife of the Chiefs' biggest star, Patrick Mahomes.
To Marquez, Valdez, Scantling.
Kinsey, please tell me the buzz is dying down on this, or are people still fascinated by this rare love story?
I think that the cringiest part of that video is when Brittany Mahomes misses her cue, and Taylor's like, "Come on, we got to do it. We got to do this thing we clearly rehearsed in the girls' bathroom in the VIP area." Rita, this is a win that the NFL has so desperately needed. 53% of viewership up amongst teenage girls, over almost 30,000 viewers watching these Chiefs games. And let me tell you where the NFL lost people is when they fully got behind the Black Lives Matter movement. They turned away a lot of people that were committed to the NFL and these teams. And now these teenage girls are going, "Hey, Dad, we got to watch the game. I have to see what Taylor's wearing, if she's wearing a bracelet dedicated to her new boyfriend, what Travis is wearing, what celebrity friends Taylor's bringing." And this is a win for the NFL. So hopefully they've learned their lesson. They kind of got Bud Lighted in taking a political side too aggressively. And, hopefully they'll go for some more wholesome and, wholesome content in the future.
Well, until it all ends in tears and Taylor writes another album about how terrible Travis was.
You're done.
Which is the best part of the whole thing. That's what I'm looking forward to. But it just shows you how everything's connected. You mentioned Bud Light there, and Bud Light did try to rebuild their image with Travis Kelce. He was featured in an ad. It was a terrible ad. I don't think it repaired any of the damage they've caused themselves, but good on them for trying. Kinsey Schofield, always a pleasure.
Thank you.